Hello and welcome to the RogueLands Ultimate Weapons series. Today we're looking at a sword, yet again, and this one's called the Dark Messenger. Now before I pop it out, I want to tell you, this sword, I don't like the model, but the effects are gorgeous, and it's probably one of the best looking weapons in the game because of it. It does this to you. Now, this sword, beautiful, beautiful. It gives you these black demon wings that flutter around. The long and short of it is, when you jump and you fall slowly. And that's because you're obviously having a little bit of a fly, and it's very cool. The sword itself functions like any other sword, but it also fires a projectile, which is a Catherine wheel of death that looks like this, and it scales with magic. As you can see, it does knock you back like a cannon would, but it can be cancelled out just as a cannon can by holding forward, basically. It slows you down a little bit and stops your movement, but you can fire like a ton of those forward in like a biohazard symbol of destruction. Really cool. And all these scale with magic, in case I just didn't mention that. So I'll be doing 101 damage on the swing, 120 damage per hit of the Catherine Wheels of Death. It's really interesting because obviously you have to increase fall speed, the extra animations, and the projectiles. It's a really fun weapon. I like it quite a lot. So I'm going to go in, as you normally do, beat up Uragorak. So yeah, as you can see here, if I hold forward in the air, like I hold forward and then use my projectile, it just makes me fall slowly. But if I jump and then don't press forward, have no directional input, I just fly back. So I mean, there's probably some like options for traversal with this that I'm not super familiar with. But it's a super fun weapon, just because it does stuff like this. And you can hit enemies with a ton of projectiles. They go quite far, but they move quite slow. But again, they scale 1-to-1 with magic, and I'm a big fan because it's really fun to look at. And look at this. It's beautiful. Yeah, unfortunately the projectiles do knock back, but they can hit the same enemy more than once and they don't get consumed on the first hit. So piercing projectiles all around. I don't know if you can call them piercing, because they hit more than once, but they don't go through enemies because it knocks them away. But it's still pretty cool. I'm still a fan. The same way in like the Tri-Goddess or the Fractured Soul would work. You can basically just stack on something and use the sword as a regular sword, and that way you do your magic plus your strength stat all together. And yep, it's like better scaling like that. There you go. So you get like 2 stats added together for damage, which is really nice. Obviously, spreading yourself over two stats is incredibly useful. Instead of doing 3 or 4, because that just spreads you a little bit too thin for maximum amount of damage. And despite the fact that I've got like a very average build here, like Roos doesn't have any, what are they called? Roos doesn't have any like min-maxed stats or anything. It's really interesting to see the amount of damage this can put out, and I am a massive, massive fan of this. I know a lot of people aren't that keen on it because of the extra effects and stuff. They think is a bit of a waste, but I think the aesthetics make up for it. My biggest complaint, if I had to name it, is basically that the projectiles work the same way that Ringabolt's axe does, where it can't do what you ask it to do. Like if you want to go straight up, you can't do it. Of course, you've got to move because otherwise you get knocked back anyway, so you can't really tell. But like you can't go like directly above you. It'll always go off to the side a little bit, and that makes shooting just a little bit awkward with it. But in general, very, very fun. I cannot think to complain too much about it, to be honest. It's something that you get used to more than you need to complain about. And again, this isn't a weapon that takes a great player to use. I just think it's a fun weapon to use that has good stats, and that's usually the recipe for success in a game like this. And I am, honestly, a massive fan of this one. If people are into like mage, what's the word? Battle mages, that's the word. That's the one. If people are into battle mages in other games, or like you play D&D and you like to be like a necromancer and a paladin or something together, this might be the sort of weapon you'll be into. And you know, that means a lot of things, just in case you it means a lot of things to me, at least, because it means, although I don't really role-play in RogueLands, there's still options for expansion of one's horizons with impressive weapons like this. So yep, if you can't tell, I'm a little bit smitten. It's not something I'm going to use because I do not have the character slots for it, unfortunately, but just in general, it is very fun, and of course I would recommend it to you, up there with some of the best of them, because it is a fun weapon and it's really good to look at. In any case, that's it. That was the Dark Messenger. Once again, you combine the Doomguard sword with the Darkened Prism. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I have now. And it fires projectiles that scale with your magic. Super fun, super swag, like it a lot. Thank you very much for joining me today. There'll be more videos on the way in this series, so subscribe if you don't want to miss them. And until next time, please look after yourself, and I will see you then.